Hello and welcome to the lecture of International Business Environment. In this lecture, we will going to have a discussion on the regional economic grouping, which is Unit 11 of Block 3. As in the Block 3, we will going to discuss about all that world trading and the world trading practices. Now this unit is working on the regional economic grouping basis. The topics which we will going to be covered are introduction, overseas, history, forum, rational, religionism versus multilateralism, impact and strategy. Now in this session we will basically have understanding about the regional practices in the different countries, the influence of the environment as also both the role played by the international organization and national government in orderly the growth of a global trade. So that is what if we talk about the practices of a global trade की practices जो हैं वो बहुत ज़्यादा depend करती हैं कि international organization कैसी हैं और उस particular nation के अंदर वहाँ की government कैसी है, यानी कि what is national government, किस तरह के environment create होते हैं एक national level पर और जो organizations को face करने पड़ते हैं. So these are the main considerations of international trade. So this deals with an important phenomena in the global trade. Global trade के अंदर ये बहुत important role play करता है. So the basic origin of and the growth of this phenomena is traced and factor that brought about the development are enumerated. So yes, development is very necessary और जब हम international trade की बात करते हैं तो we have to consider these things because regional practices are always there in the international trade. एक अगर हम international trade की बात करते हैं तो उसमें हमेशा से एक regional practices रहेंगी. So that is what this lecture is going to be stated. Basically working on the regional factors. Now the main aim of this, the main aim of a regional grouping development or regional economic grouping is to basically understanding the development processes and accelerate the growth of the practices, and yes, at the same time improving the quality of a work life of that particular nation. कि आप जिस भी nation में जाके perform करने वाले हो वहाँ पर एक डेवलपमेंट स्कोप होनी चाहिए एंड उस डेवलपमेंट से यस एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की प्रैक्टिसेस तो एस्केलरेट होंगी ही, इम्प्रूव होंगी ही, बट उसके साथ साथ उस नेशन की डेवलपमेंट होगी, इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड की डेवलपमेंट होगी. ऑटोमेटिकली देयर वाज वेरी मच लिंक्स एंड अ चेन ऑफ ऑल द फंक्शनिंग्स और वो चेन डेवलप होती है एंड यस एट द सेम टाइम उस पर्टिकुलर नेशन में क्वालिटी ऑफ वर्क लाइफ इंप्रूव होता है and yes, economic significances of national political boundaries is completely lost. So उस केस में हमें एक economic factors को भी consider करना पड़ता है to be considered, and yes, again with having a fixed agreements and having a fixed and proper rules and regulation worldwide. So अगर हमारे पास worldwide एक perfect rules हैं, agreements हैं, तो उस केस में कहीं ना कहीं एक political boundaries तो minimize हो जाती हैं. But we have to consider the economical significance कि economy significance है and we have to consider the all economical factors. So that is what the main aim and that is what the main overview of that particular lecture. Now if we talk about the history, so there were the two distinct ways of the regional grouping. They basically comes after resolving all the conflicts and issues after the Second World War. Second World War के बाद जितने भी issues हुए थे with all that European common market, so उन्हें एक consist करने के लिए उनकी conflicts को minimize करने के लिए इस तरीके के steps जो थे वो लिए गए थे. So they were basically the 1950s with the formation of the European common market by the West Germany, France, Italy. So basically consisted in the 1958. Now what are those forums which are used in the grouping part, regional grouping? जब हम regional grouping की बात करते हैं तो there may be a five major type of that forum is. So the very first is a preferential trading agreement. Preferential trading agreement होता है, that means then or two parties can have an agreement on the basis of their preferences. वो अपनी प्रेफरेंसेस के बेसिस पर अग्रीमेंट कर सकते हैं. So that comes into preferential trading agreement. Free trade is when there was free practices, there is no barriers in the trade and they can do freely all their business practices. कस्टम यूनियन इज जहां पर एक बिजनेस प्रैक्टिसेस के लिए कुछ कस्टम्स को यूज किया जाता है, कुछ कस्टम पुट डाउन किए जाते हैं, सो दैट्स कम्स इनटू कस्टम यूनियन. कॉमन मार्केट जहां पर दो पार्टीज डिसाइड करती हैं एक कॉमन मार्केट और वो इंडिविजुअल लेवल पर आके पार्टिसिपेट करते हैं, बट दे डिसाइड ऑन द कॉमन मार्केट, दैट इज वन मार्केट इन विच दे वर गोइंग टू परफॉर्म. एंड इकोनॉमिक कम्युनिटीज, दिस इज व्हाट इन विच द पार्टीज बेसिकली फॉलोज अ common political practices and common economical practices in the particular trade. So that is what comes into the 5 different forums of the regional grouping. Now rational things to be considered. When we talk about the rational factors, the rational factor is basically discussing about कि कैसे या किस वजह से एक regional grouping की workings होती हैं. सबसे पहले है the political objective. पॉलिटिकल मैटर्स को रिजॉल्व करने के लिए, पॉलिटिकल इश्यूज और पॉलिटिकल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स को मिनिमाइज करने के लिए, एंड यस एट द सेम टाइम जितनी भी पॉलिटिकल बाउंड्रीज होती हैं उनको रिमूव करने के लिए इस रैशनल पॉलिटिकल प्रैक्टिसेस और पॉलिटिकल ऑब्जेक्टिव को यूज किया जाता है रीजनल इकोनॉमिक ग्रुपिंग के अंदर. अनदर इज रिस्पॉन्सेज टू द स्लो प्रोग्रेस ऑफ ग्लोबल लिबरलाइजेशन. So the next is response to the slow progress of a global liberalization. This is what, considering that having a grouping of that particular perspective or having a trade successful, there are the groupings was done. So for that grouping, the one of a factor is to bringing out more progress in the liberalization. That is bringing out more liberalization functioning or liberalization trade in the particular factor. Another is regional initiatives. Regional initiatives to take an initiative to bringing out your regional in the trading practices. So that's come into regional initiatives. Then demonstration effects is what, how you will going to practice all your functionings in that particular trade. Then next is the regionalism versus the multilateralism. So when we talk about regionalism, regionalism is basically when company create a small group of partners and start their trade or their trade practicing. That is what that comes into the regionalism. So जहाँ पर एक कंट्री जो है लो ट्रेड बैरियर्स के साथ एक छोटे ग्रुप में अपनी ट्रेडिंग करती हैं तो वो एक रीजनलिज्म हो जाता है. At the same time, it discriminate against the rest of the world. So वो rest of the world से बिल्कुल अलग और सेपरेट होता है. Multilateral is what, no discrimination basis on the World Trade Organization. That means whole world is considered as in a one और उसमें किसी भी तरीके की discriminatories नहीं है. Everybody is a partner of that World Trade Organization and everybody is the partner of that world organization. Then next is the impacts of regionalism. Regionalism का impact क्या आता है? When we talk about the impact, the very first impact is trade diversions and creations. Yes, trade may diverse with the one of that regionalism कि आप जिस भी trade practices के साथ काम कर रहे हैं नहीं, आप trade दूसरी जगह, एक country का focus दूसरी जगह जा सकता है. So that's come into trade diversions and creations. Term of trade effects, there may be a modification or certain adjustment between that two countries. जिसकी वजह से there may be an effect of terms of trade. Then economy of scale and ease of entry, that is practices of that particular economy and how much easy to have an entrances in that particular businesses. When the two parties joins together to enter into a one kind of trade practices, that shows the impact, one of that impact. Merger and acquisition is one of that impact which may happen at a regionalism level. So another is they rise up the competition in that particular market. There may be a reduction in the marketing cost, may marketing cost decline and more earning of more income was there. Then impact of FDI flows was one of this. Then other is the strategies used in regionalism. Regionalism के अंदर हम किस तरह की strategies को use कर सकते हैं? सबसे पहले प्रोडक्ट वाइज स्ट्रैटेजीज. प्रोडक्ट वाइज स्ट्रैटेजीज ऑलवेज डिपेंड, जब एक दो पार्टीज अकॉर्डिंग टू देयर प्रोडक्ट जब एक स्ट्रैटेजीज के अंदर आती है, यानी कि एक प्रोडक्ट, सपोज एक प्रोडक्ट जो है एक एक्स नेशन में प्रोड्यूस होता है और बाकी का उस जो पार्ट है या उसकी एक मैन्युफैक्चरिंग जो है वो वाई कंट्री के अंदर मैन्युफैक्चर होती है. सो इन दैट केस दे मे come into the regionalism factors, or they may come into the product wise strategy to bringing out the qualitative product in the market and try to capture the world market. So that's comes into product wise strategy. Another is the market segmentation strategy. Market segmentation is basically, yes, it is what dividing the whole market, which is considered as the one market, into the different segmentations and perform according to that segmented market. So that's come into market segmentation strategy. Another is the entry strategy. Entry strategy needs to have the all how you are going to enter in that particular market. So regionalism is one of the entry strategies for the nations to enter in that particular trade. So that's come into entry strategies. Strategic alliances, as we state that it is one of the impact of merger and acquisitions, have merger and acquisition, have agreements with them, have joint ventures with them. So in that case, that will lead to these strategic alliances. They may have strategical factor to come up in the one agreement and with the help of or benefiting each one. So in that case there may be a strategic alliances जब दो parties आपस में decide करती हैं कि yes एक दूसरे को benefit होगा, so they entered into the regionalism practices. Then another is FDI strategy. FDI strategy is basically talked about the all that how to generate a more FDI, how to generate the income from that foreign practices. So in that case this is again a one of a strategy through which the countries may enter into the regionalism practices. So these are all those strategies which are used by the nations or parties to perform their economy in a better manner. So in that case, country yes can take help of these strategies to bringing out the better practices in their particular economy. So if we talk about this regionalism factors, so yes, the session basically guide us regarding the there is the another trade practices which comes into the notice, that is what the regional practices that region can perform as in a, and region group economy was one of the practices which has happened in the international trade. So this is all about for the today's session. Thank you so much. IBO.